2 more wins to go. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting the thumbs up button for me and turning on the notification bell when you subscribe so that you are alerted when I go live or drop a new video, especially crucial now during the playoffs. Man, I'm having a blast. Obviously, I'm sure you are as well if you're a Knicks fan. If you're a Celtics fan, you're probably sweating some bullets, probably trying to play the denial game. But we shall see. We're going to get into how the next few games could unfold, how Game 3 could unfold. We're going to review what the Knicks have actually achieved. There's a great piece from Mike Greenberg from Get Up. Going to talk about that. And we're going to look at the 12 keys to victory in the video that I put out before this series even began. And we're going to look at how well the Knicks are doing in comparison to that. All right, let's get to it. So here we go. The team stats here right now, the playoff stats for the Knicks. Right now, the Knicks have a 6-2 record in the playoffs. Better than the actual Celtics, surprisingly. Celtics 4-3. Now, the home and away is interesting. The Knicks are 1-2 at home. So that means, that they're vulnerable at MSG. We've seen that throughout the years. Throughout this season. Let's be more specific. Throughout this season, we've seen other teams, actually past couple of seasons, where teams come into the Garden and they love the bright lights. They want to show up. They want to make their name and fame at the world's greatest arena. So the Knicks have that a little bit against them, but this is the playoffs. I think it's a whole different story right now. And I also believe that basically just from hearing how the players are talking in the off-day conferences, press conferences, they are incredibly focused. There's zero distractions, because I think that's one of the reasons why when they play at home, they come back to home, and a lot of these guys have very young kids. They've started new families, or they just got married or whatever. They have a lot of personal responsibilities that come into play when they're at home, playing at home. Also, there's dealing with friends and whatever other endeavors and ventures they have that are outside of basketball. But that's more regular season issues. During the postseason, that all goes away, because this is what it's all about. I do not think we're going to see that kind of a lack of response from the home team that we have seen at times. I think they're going to be just as focused at home as they were on the road in Boston. The points per game, the Knicks are averaging almost 106 points per game. The Celtics almost 104. The points allowed for their opponents, the Celtics are dramatically doing very well right there. 95.3 points per game is what they're allowing. But this includes the Orlando Magic first round series, and the Magic have no offense. So that's why that's there. The Knicks are allowing 104.4. So there's still a plus 1.5 for the postseason. Beautiful. These stats don't really reveal much about what went on in those first two games, but they're interesting to look at right now. Steve Popper dropped this tweet yesterday, which was great. He said, got this from Elias Sports. Teams that lose the first two games at home in a playoff series win the series only 5 out of 35 times. So they're 5 and 30. Win the series if you win game 3, 5 and 10. Win the series if you win game 3 and 4. They win 5 out of 3 times. So you can see that's really crucial to win game 3. It's absolutely imperative. No team that loses game 3, if you win game 3 and lose game 4, they're 0-7. If you win game 3 and lose game 4, you're 0-7. Sorry. If you lose game 3 and win game 4, you're 0-6. So really, the only path truly to winning is winning both games 3 and 4. So the reason I put this up is to talk about all this pressure, this narrative right now that we have. If you're a Knicks fan, you've been hearing from the national media, ESPN, Fox News, all this stuff, Fox Sports. it's not a must-win game for the Knicks, and that is the proof right there. It's not a must-win game. It's a must-win for the Boston Celtics. They're the ones who are down 0-2. The Knicks are at home. If we get a split, you win. You're going to win the series. Just look at this. If the Celtics don't sweep both, they don't even have a chance to win. Even if they sweep both, they have like a 5 out of 8 chance. So this is very, very good information for the Knicks. And the Knicks, I don't think they feel any pressure, any more pressure than they felt already in games 1 and 2. So this whole narrative that the Knicks are the ones that have the must-win. No, it's the Celtics that are in a must-win situation, not the Knicks. And the Knicks will be playing like that. They'll be comfortable within themselves. They know what they can do. They know what they have to do against this team right now. Man, put this up here. NBA J Nicky tweeted this out. Fantastic photograph. I love this. Is like the moment that this series, well, game 1, but this is the repeat, basically. Deja vu all over again right here. Incredible. Love that. It was a block turned into a steal by Mikal Bridges with, we all know, help from Mitch, who pushed Tatum into that direction, and OG Anunoby there to block off access to the actual basket. Beautifully done. Pivot Fade tweeted this out. The Knicks closed game 2 on a 23-6 run over the final 8 minutes and 27 seconds. So the Knicks only allowed the Celtics to score 6 points in 8.5 minutes. The Celtics shot 1 for 14 from the field during that stretch. And the one, I think, was a dunk. It was this play, this exact type of play just 20 seconds before that. And the Knicks left. They didn't even guard Tatum. He went straight in for the dunk. They tried to repeat that play. Big mistake. That's why Mazzulla didn't call a timeout. Because he thought our defense wasn't set, and he'd say, we just ran that play. It totally worked. Let's run it again. Well, he forgot that Mitch Robinson was on the court. Yeah, and he also didn't want to call a timeout because he didn't want Thibs to counter and take out Brunson and put in Deuce. So there's a lot of gamemanship there. There was also, with the timeouts, there was also some game in the rotations. When Mazzulla chose to hack a Mitch, and he missed that shot, it was, terrible. He just totally airballed it. Mitch, I know you can make these. I know you can make them. But when he airballed that one, then Thibs was going to sub. Oh, no, he was going to sub out Mitch for OG. But then he left Mitch in. Oh, wait, no, he did sub him out. I forgot now. He subbed him out because they were already in the penalty. So, beautifully done. Beautifully. Very smart gamemanship there. All right, let's keep it going. I think I screwed up the explanation of that. Here's this guy, Max Wildstein, tweeted this out. He got the data from Pivot Fade. In the 15 minutes that Kat and Mitch have played together across the first 2 games of this series, the Knicks have outscored the Celtics in those minutes 32-11. They have a 128 offensive rating, which is possessions per 100 scores per 100 possessions, and a 40.7 defensive, 40.7. That's a plus 87.3 net rating. So, does the double big lineup work? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then I tweeted this out yesterday, actually, or today. Was it today? Yesterday. Only one player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, with a plus 35, has a higher total plus minus in the conference semis than Mitchell Robinson, who has a plus 32. And he's done his work in 26 less total minutes played than Shai. That is outstanding for Mitch. He's been a tremendous game changer for us. He's elevated the defense, and he's given the players an opportunity to be their best version of themselves defensively out on the court. And he's even given you a little bit something offensively. I want to see more. The lob game is atrocious right now. It's everyone's fault right now. No one's been able to figure out how to execute the lob game, which is truly shocking. Truly shocking. News on Porzingis. Shams on Porzingis. He said, my understanding, lingering side effects from March virus. Sapped his energy, drained him, had to rely on getting a lot more sleep last few months, take IVs, immune boosters. Haven't been able to completely ID which virus specifically. That is wild. That is really interesting. I feel bad for Porzingis, but the reality is, he probably won't continue to have much of an impact in this series until he starts feeling a lot better. He definitely didn't have that much of an impact in game 2, even though he did play. And he was, he did play. He hasn't had much of an impact against the Knicks. Yeah, he did play game 2. He's averaging 13 minutes a game, only 4 points per game. That's what he's averaging. So he is struggling, and that's another major hurdle for the Celtics to overcome. I know they won last year. They won the championship, and Porzingis missed many of those games. I can't remember how many, but I think he only played in 4 or 5 games, I think, in last postseason. And meanwhile, the Celtics ran through the postseason. Well, we also heard Grandy, the voice of the Celtics, say in an interview on the Putback that this Knicks team is better than any of the teams that the Celtics faced last season in the postseason. So, it's a whole different story here, meaning they can't necessarily win without Porzingis versus the Knicks. And that's a major, 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 major issue right there for the Boston Celtics. If they think they can win without Porzingis, they have a rude awakening coming. And they already have, basically, because Porzingis is a shell of his former self. Unfortunately, I don't like injuries being a reason, but injuries are a reality of life and the situation. This was interesting from Ian Begley article on SNY.com. He noticed that he said, this is him talking about in the locker room after the game 2. And I'm bringing this up in reference to the focus and the determination that the Knicks players have currently right now. You'd think that kind of moment would lead to wild celebrations in the Knicks locker room. They had come back from 20-point deficits and back-to-back road playoff games against the defending champs. But there was no party in the visitors' locker room at TD Garden on Wednesday. Instead, the Knicks sounded like a team that knew it needed to play better to finish off the defending champs. Boom! Beautiful. That is fully understanding the situation. Situational awareness at its best right there. And especially when you heard what Brunson said in his press conference interview about this series. It says about coming back home to play now. He goes, it's 0-0. 0-0. And that is exactly the kind of attitude. Anunoby right there says, we got to watch the film, see where we can get better. Anunoby said, I don't think we've played as well as we can. That's right. They haven't. And they're up 2-0. So I love it. Later on in that article, Josh Hart echoed those thoughts. He said, we have to continue to build. We have to continue to put together a full game. I think that's something that we haven't done during the course of these playoffs, he said, after scoring a game-high 23 points. We get leads. We surrender leads. We come back from big leads. We've got to figure out how to put together a complete game. And then below that, on the bottom, I'm scared to see when we put it together on defense and let that push the offense and get dangerous. PJ Tucker. Love that attitude. Okay, I'm saving this because now we are going to go to... We're going to go to this first. So, great segment. It's under the headline of an improbable run by the Knicks. So these, I'm just putting these for the actual stats over here. That's next to me. Since at least 1998, when they started keeping these stats, it's the first team to win consecutive playoff games after trailing both by 20. That's what the Knicks have done. That is truly the first team ever to win consecutive playoff games after trailing both by 20 points. Then, Knicks in series versus Celtics have only led have been behind, have been trailing 80.2% of the time. So they've only led 19.8% of the time, of percentage of time. They've trailed for 80% of the time of the two games themselves. That is mind-blowing. Knicks, 5 straight playoff road wins, all by 3 points or less. NBA record. So you look at that, you're going to tell me that this team, even if they lose, I almost said we. I should say we. If we lose game 3, you're going to tell me they're going to get rattled and all start sweating and like, oh, we're going to lose game 4 and that's it. The series is done. Because that's what must win means. How can that be? I mean, this team has never done. They've never folded like that, especially on the road. So they're going to have to go back to the road. They have 2 more games in Boston Garden if the series goes 7. You're going to tell me they're going to lose both those after all this? I just don't see it. And why? Why have they been able to achieve all of this? And Mike Greeny finishes it with this. Clutch. They are just an outstanding clutch team right now. And it's not just Jalen Brunson. That defensive stance by Mitch Robinson with Bridges and OG Anunoby, fabulous. Mikal Bridges stealing, ripping the ball away from Jaylen Brown in the last possession of overtime in game 1. Mikal Bridges coming down like an offer in the first 3 quarters in game 2, and then he delivers 14 points. OG Anunoby in game 1, just back-to-back 3-pointers when the Knicks desperately needed him. This team is clutch, and Boston's going to have to figure out how to overcome that. I am very, very excited to see what's going to happen there. Yes. Okay. Now, let's get to this. So these were the 12 keys. Number 1, Josh Hart makes Celtics pay. Well, he has. Not only has he improved upon what he did in the last year's postseason when he rose and he delivered 14.5 points on 44% shooting, on 37.3% shooting from the 3-point line. Look what he's doing now. He is averaging 18.5 points per game. So an additional 4. He's shooting 58.3% from the field overall right now. And he is shooting from the 3-point line 36.4%. So very close to there, but his inside the arc game has been outstanding, and he's averaging almost 6 attempts from the 3-point line, hitting 36. I mean, I said I'd be happy if he hit 1 out of 3. So this is totally happening right now. So you can check that. Here. Check that. Yes. Next. More blockness. Well, we know the double big lineup has been a huge success. Monster success so far. So that is another big check. Weaponize amnesia. Totally big check. When Brunson says series is 0-0 coming home, not only did they weaponize that amnesia for game 1, when they had basically been swept in the regular season by the Boston Celtics, and everyone was picking the Celtics to win in at least 5 or 6, maybe. A few people 7. Some people thought a sweep. No one was picking the Knicks to win. Except right here. I said they could win if they did these things, and they are doing them, and that's why they're up 2-0. So weaponizing, check. Another one. That's 3. Fourth one. This one's interesting. Game 4, Game 4 from the first round against the Pistons. Cat shows up for the Game 4, Cat from the regular season versus the Celtics. He scored 34 points. He just destroyed them, especially inside the arc. But he lets the 3-ball fly. Okay, he has not. He's averaging only 1 3-point attempt per game against the Celtics right now. So you'd say, oh, wait, he's not doing that. Yeah, he averaged less than 3 3-point attempts. He's got to average at least 7 per game. I still think that's a must. I mean, right now, Celtics have been missing threes, but if they start hitting threes, who's the guy who can actually help match that? Karl-Anthony Towns. And I think he will adjust that to do that. But so in this one, I would say this is a no, but his defense has stepped up tremendously. He has been, for him, he has a defensive rating of 105.8. In fact, let's go to this. Here, I'll show you guys this. Here it is. Karl Anthony Towns, defensive rating of 105.8. He has actually been a plus defender for the New York Knicks. He has a 2.8 of a net rating. So even though his offense hasn't been as spectacular as the Knicks were used to, or I thought they needed, where he is only now averaging 17.5 points per game, but he's shooting 51.7% overall, hasn't made a three-pointer in this series. So when you look at it that way, it's like, wait, that's really wild. So, yes, he hasn't brought us the offensive that we need, but he has brought the defense. And he definitely has had clutch makes. He had 2 clutch offensive rebounds and putbacks in both games that were instrumental. Especially, he had one in game 1, he had one towards the end of regulation time, and he had a key one in overtime where the Knicks were able to pull that game out 108-105. So this one is an X. It's a no, but lots of good stuff he's done. Next, number 5. Now, this is the interesting one we're going to spend a little bit of time on. Knicks hoist more threes and suffocate the three-point line. New York averages nearly the same amount of three-point attempts as Celtics while shooting 37% plus or so, and force Boston into being a mid-range team. Well, this hasn't quite happened the way we thought it would happen. The New York Knicks, though, are shooting 36.5% from the three-point line. And the Celtics are shooting 30. Wait, let me see. I'm going to go into, hold on, just the semifinals. Sorry. Here. In the semifinals, which is the series that we're the round 2, the Knicks are actually averaging 38.2 points per game. Here we go. Knicks are averaging over 37%. So yes, on that. And Boston is averaging 25%. So, but they're averaging 50 three-point attempts. They averaged 60 in game 1 and 40 in game 2. So they're still pretty high, and they averaged 48 during the regular season. Orlando was able to get them down to 32 three-point shot attempts during the first round. So they are shooting less in the first round against the Orlando Magic, but that's kind of gone up against the Knicks. However, they're making a lot less of them, 12.5%. And it's not just them missing shots. The Knicks are playing very good defense out on the perimeter. They're switching completely, and they are closing out hard on shooters, and they're also disrupting sight lines. So when one player out beyond the arc who has a guy on him is looking for an open Celtic, his vision is being obstructed. That's another little wrinkle that the Knicks have instituted in this series, which has been working beautifully for them. All right, let's get back to this. So, here we go. So this is Boston's shooting percent, like the amount of 2-point shots that they take compared to the amount of 3-point shots. In the regular season, the amount of 3-point shots, it was about 53.6% of their shots were from the 3-point line. Over 50%. Almost 54%. That's amazing. And in the regular season, they were at 46%. In the playoffs versus the Knicks, they're averaging, in terms of 2-point attempts, 46.6% against the Knicks in both games, game 1 and game 2. Again, they're averaging 52.4% for 3, but they're shooting only 25%. Sorry, I got lost in my own data here. They're shooting 47.3%, which is down almost 10% from the regular season inside the arc. So they're trying to go into the arc, but they are averaging 10% less. And they're averaging almost 12% less from the 3-point line from the regular season in the playoffs against the Knicks. And in game 2, that disparity even went up. So the Knicks were able, in essence, to make them become more of a mid-range shooting team from game 1 to game 2. They went from 60 attempts in game 1 to just 40 in game 2, as you can see there, though they only made 10. So they're still at 25%, which is horrific for them, especially at 40 attempts. But they took 54 shots inside the arc, but only hit 44.4%. So the Knicks are doing an excellent job defensively on inside the arc and outside the arc right now against the Boston Celtics. And that is why, number 5, I give it a check. That's right. Number 5, this one, I give it a check. Even though they haven't done it the way I outlined it there exactly, but the Knicks are shooting very well from the three-point line, and they're forcing Boston to become more of a mid-range team. Even in the game 1, when they, everyone's been talking about all the 60 attempts and all that, they could have deviated from it, but what would they have had to go to? They weren't doing that great inside the arc either. So that's pretty fascinating to me. Number 6, stingy Knicks continue. Knicks take care of the ball and force Celtics to turn it over 17 plus per game, while convincingly winning the conceded points battle. Well, this one's really interesting, because the truth is that the Knicks are actually turning the ball over more than they normally do. They're turning it over 14 and a half times per game right now. The Celtics are turning it over 15 and a half times. But in game 2, the Knicks got them to turn the ball over 17 times. So it's like, pretty much, they're pretty much doing it. They're pretty much doing it. So that's I would give this a check. Brunson Burner continues scorching in the playoffs. We all know that this is true. He's doing fabulous. He's shooting almost 39% from the three-point line. He's been so clutch, so crazy clutch. It's just fabulous what he's been doing. Number 8, Anunoby suffocates Tatum. We all know the story right there. He has completely taken away basically his whole go-to game right now. That's fabulous. New York gets Boston into foul trouble, and the Knicks drain free throws. This one's a weird one. Bad free throw shooting game in game 1 for the Knicks, but they did get 37 or something like that free throw attempts. So they got the attempts up. So they did get Boston into foul trouble. They're doing that, but they didn't hit the shot. But they did hit their shots, their free throws in game 2. They shot 80% in game 2. So that one's a work in progress. I think that one probably they are achieving what they need to do there. But I will say right now, that's an X. Definitely an X. But good things are happening in there. So that's 2 of the 9 that are definitely the Knicks are not doing at all so far. 10. Knicks never let Celtics big leads. They keep games close late, and Captain Clutch delivers game winners. Okay, so it's weird because I put those two together. It's weird. They're totally failing at keeping the Celtics from building big leads, but they're totally succeeding at keeping the games close late. And Captain Clutch delivers. So this one's hilarious. I give it a big X because I don't want them to give these leads. I mean, coming back from 2 20-point deficits, it's just insane. It's mind-boggling to think you can keep doing that and win. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. If they do, I'm all here for the crazy if they do it. But I don't want that. I want them to stick close. I want them to take leads and then keep it close. And then Captain Clutch delivers game winners in the end. And that's basically what's been happening. But it's not just him, but yeah. 11, Mikal Bridges. So this is a fail. So that's three fails, kind of. Keep Mikal fresh. Keep him on Brown or White. The less Bridges guards Tatum, the better. The less he has to chase through screens, the better he'll be on offense. He has had definitely possessions where he's been the primary defender on Tatum. But mostly it's been OG who's been on Tatum. So that has totally worked out. In terms of keeping him fresh, I mean, I was more talking about like for the fourth quarters. So in a way, it's totally happened because he scored 14 in game 2. So that's another check. the final one, Deuce and Cam deliver key minutes. Well, Deuce definitely has delivered key minutes in this playoffs. Deuce is averaging 8 points per game in 17 minutes of play on 54.5% shooting from the field, and he's taking 4 3-pointers per game, hitting 2 of them. He's averaging 50% from the 3-point line, and he has hit big 3-pointers in both game 1 and game 2. And he also had a dunk in game 2, and the Knicks were down at that point. And when he had the dunk, I was like, when Deuce dunks, Knicks win. So that's another check. So there you go. Right now, so the Knicks have successfully achieved 9 of the 12 keys to victory, and 2 of them, Cat and what was Cat? The Cat and the free throws are showing very promising results as well. So there it is. The Knicks just keep following this, or whatever they're doing, following this. I'm not saying they're following this, but this is correlating to what they're following. If they keep doing that, I find it very difficult to believe that the Boston Celtics can win the next 4 games against the Knicks, or at least 4 out of 5. That they can win 4 out of 5. I just don't see it happening. It's much easier for the Knicks at this point. That's the beauty of coming home 2-0. You're going to win. You're going to mostly win most of the time. Especially when you look at, where's that? That Steve Popper. Let's go back and review this. So now this makes even more sense. Basically, because even if Boston wins tonight, they have a 33% chance of winning the series if they win tonight. If they win tonight and they win on Monday, their odds increase tremendously. They're 5 of 3. So what's 5? Like a 60 something, like a 59% chance of winning if they win the next 2 because they have the momentum and they're going back home. So that definitely will help them. So that means they have to sweep both. But the Knicks still have the know-how and they've had the recent experience of winning on that TD Garden floor. So there you go. But if they win game 3 and lose game 4, done. If they lose game 3 and win game 4, they're still done. They're still cooked. So really, the only path to victory for the Boston Celtics is if they sweep both games at the Garden. And I just see that as very, very unlikely at this moment, especially because I think Knicks are still due for a tremendous breakout game, like 130 points plus type of game. I'm expecting something like that at some point in this postseason for the Knicks. And maybe that'll become a regular thing. Maybe that'll become regular. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. Sorry I screwed up some of the discussion, but I think you get the gist. The Knicks, it is an improbable run. It is a miraculous thing that they've pulled off. Never happened before. Certain things they've done, the 5 road victories with 3 points or less. It's an NBA record. All of that. They're breaking records because right now everything is coming together at the right time for the New York Knicks. Everyone is relatively healthy-ish enough. They're healthy enough. And then there's the Mitch Robinson factor. He's been outstanding, and I just expect him to keep improving. And I expect the chemistry between him and Cat to continue improving. And the chemistry between him and the others who are trying to feed him some lobs has to improve. That has to improve. I just don't see that staying the way it is. So all indicators to me are the Knicks are going to win this series. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Drop your comments. And definitely drop your comments. And I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go. Game 3.